Hi guys, it's Jenny, and here's a short workout, 3 moves that really help to address posture and imbalances, especially through our thoracic spine, which is our middle of our back, right here where the ribs are. So the first 2 are mobilizations, mobility exercises, and we'll take advantage of the use of a foam roller. If you don't have one, just roll up a towel. It also may be slightly more forgiving than a foam roller. So you might do that anyway, even if you do have a foam roller. And then the third and final one will be an activation to follow up on that stretching or that movement of the muscle and the fascial tissue. We like to practice those muscles kind of waking up and doing their job again. All right, so the first one is lying back with the foam roller perpendicular to your spine. You're gonna place the foam roller in the brow line. So it's the area right below the tips of my scapula. And then I'm just gonna hold on to my head with my hands, resting my tailbone down on the mat. Now it's tempting to kind of tuck your butt under and kind of try to flatten your lower back down towards the mat. Just kind of bracing ourselves for this work with the roller. But what I want you to try to do is maintain a little bit of curvature in that lower back, not too much, but just a little bit of, it's more of a flat diagonal line here. And then as we move, we're gonna try to move, as I said, again, right through this central area of the spine, the rib cage area, and not down below. So if I start to allow that lower back and the pelvis to really tilt, you'll notice you'll see this flaring open through my rib cage, but that's what I wanna avoid. That's letting the front really loosen and really mobilizing through my lumbar spine. So I'm gonna concentrate a little bit higher up, lean back, really feeling the pressure of the roller in my middle back, right under my ribs, and keeping my core engaged. And then just release upward. It's not a crunch, it's just a little lift. Lean back, and then release upward. I'm trying to think of my head being supported by the hands, not curling it too much, but not letting it flop back. So chin is gently tucked and the neck is supported long. You might inhale back or exhale back. And you're gonna do about 10 to 15 of those. I find it's really helpful just to kind of feel my back and also to get myself out of any kind of bad habit postural situation that I might be in. You know, especially as we're stuck at home right now and leaning over devices or using our computers at work. So number 2 is the same area. We're gonna do a twist, a rotation, but it's really with an eye towards being safe for the shoulder girdle and mobilization again, more mobilization via the scapula. So I'm gonna lay myself down on my side. My knees are bent. Roller is under my top hand. Let me scoot back so you can actually see the roller move. It's going to respond to the movement of my scapula. So the first movement is actually going forward, pushing the roller, and my scapula, you can see, comes away from the spine, so they come wide. Then pulling the roller back towards my body, I'm going to pull my shoulder blade back. This is known as retraction. Lift your hand up, and then begin to turn, and it's that same inner middle area of the trunk that I'm turning until I open it up. Try not to move that lower back. So if you find that if you look at your knees, one has slid open or your hips are very uneven, you have moved your lower back. So this isn't a race to get our hand to the floor, but rather an effort to feel that stretching, that twisting sensation in our back. And then you just come gently back around. You might do 3 or 4 on each side. Definitely do both sides, right? Just to get that stretch even on both sides of your body. And then the third and final one is, as I promised, it's an activation, right? So we're trying to move into strength because the thoracic muscles, as I mentioned, this area of the spine is what we're focused on. This is what holds us up, right? And it holds the weight of the big bowling ball. So when we think of bad posture, it's kind of twofold, the problem. That area of the spine that we're working becomes rounded, right? But it's actually long, it's stretched out, but at the same time it's tight because it's holding on for dear life to hold the weight of the head. And then our neck in turn becomes super tight because we have to lift our eyes up or we would fall over. So we need to do two things. We need to strengthen that middle back, and then we also need to work on lengthening through the neck, the cervical spine. So we're gonna work on those two things in our last move. It's like a small version of Cobra or Swan Stretch from Pilates. So there's two ways you can do it. I'm gonna show it without the roller first, and then I'll add the roller. The biggest difference is that your arms have to be able to go into a little shoulder extension, so having your arms over your head. If that's dangerous for your shoulders, then stick with the first one that I show. So you'll have your hips resting on the mat, legs can be separated, hips are mostly relaxed, elbows bent, head down. You take a deep breath in. You start by feeling those shoulder blades move the same way they did when we were on our side. So the scapula moved towards the spine a little bit, relaxing away from the ears, and then gentle pressure of the hands as you lift your chest up. Now this is not a deep bend in the lower back or a squeeze of the glutes that lifts us, but the area right in the thorax, in the thoracic spine. And then slowly, gently come back down. You'll notice that I'm also working that lengthening through my neck. So as I come up, I'm not craning my chin up. My gaze is still at the mat. And you do 8 to 10 of these, right, in a row. And then follow that up with a stretch. Nice child's pose to stretch your back. So here's take number 2, or B, the version B of that Swan Stretch or Cobra. So I start with my arms on the roller. And if putting your head down like that is gonna put a pressure in the shoulder joint, if that's too much, you start with your nose hovered. Same thing here, scapular mobility first. So think of scapula coming away from the ears, slightly towards the spine. And then I'm gonna lift my chest as I pull the roller in. Now this goes a little bit higher, right? But you don't have to necessarily. You could pull it in just a little, like I did with the other version, and then release it back down. Same thing here with the neck. As I lift up, my gaze stays at the mat. I just lift the head in line with the spine, and then slowly lower. And depending on how high up, I always talk about having a runway. So if you're planning to lift really high, you want to start with the roller up on your forearm. If you're not planning as much height, then you start with it closer to your hands. And as always, take a nice stretch to follow it up. And that's it for today. 3 moves that can help with posture when you've been sitting too long. Thanks so much.